I am Captain Mark Habermeyer, stationed out at Vance Air Force Base in Eden, Oklahoma. I am a FAPE, First Assignment Instructor Pilot. I teach students in Phase 2 primary training, how to take off, land, do toll data, fly formation, fly in the weather, do instrument approaches, basically the basics of flying. Prior in this guy, aircraft maintainer stationed up at Offutt in Omaha, originally from Wisconsin, go Packers, and yeah, basically just teach the basics of flying to students. Currently, I am an assistant flight commander, so I work in the flight room, and that is where the rubber meets the road, if you will. So every day we work and fly with the students. We do counseling on them, get them ready for their check rides, and fly with them every day. So whether it's the brief, in-flight flying, the debrief, we are the ones that are molding the students, if you will. They don't have a lot of flying experience, so they take what you say to heart. So you got to make sure you're treating them the right way, and because they will listen to you, hopefully. The first one that comes to mind, I was flying with a student the ride before their solo, so a solo checkout, if you will. We're flying in the local pattern, and the student in the final turn, we have very strict airspeed limitations because airspeed is life in the pattern. You get slow, you could stall, and fall out of the sky. So our course training standards are -0 to +10. We're pretty strict with that. So the ride before his solo, he got slow in the final turn, right? So -0 to +10 is we are 150 knots. So he ended up getting down to 110 knots, so I had to take the jet, do a little go around, and then took it for the full stop. Had to tell the student it was an unsatisfactory, so we had to repeat the ride. He just wasn't safe to go solo at that time, so we had to repeat the ride just because he wasn't safe. The student responded fairly well. You never know with students. Usually they respond receptively. Sometimes they don't. But as long as the instructors, you explain the importance of why you had to unset them. It's never easy to tell a student they unsat it, and it's never easy to receive an unset from an instructor. But as long as you get the point across to the student, the big picture of why it's so important. Hey, if you get slow, you know, that's how people die, type of thing. So as long as you explain that, so he was really receptive to that. The subsequent sortie, he had to take the sortie again, and did really well. That was the only thing that he had messed up the first time, and he was able to correct for it the next time. You know, you compartmentalize. You mess up one thing, but you move on, which you have to learn a lot in this game that we play. Surprisingly, yes, on this one. Usually the squadron commanders are really cool about it, and they'll take the IP or check IP's word for it if you have an onset, if they're even paying attention. At the flight level, the reason we got pushed back from this one is because the solo checkout had been moved towards the end of the program, right before their track select day. And with this pilot shortage that we have, it's hard to justify rolling students back and pushing their track select back. So it's like you must graduate these many students at this time. So it's really easy for a squadron commander to relax standards and try to push, be like, hey, was this really necessary for you to hook or onsite your student? So yeah, there was definitely pushback on that, but in the end, the instructor pilot has the final word, whether it's going to be an onset or a pass drive. So sometimes pressure from above, you kind of have to push back, if you will. Yeah, usually after an onset ride, or if anything weird happens out there, you go back into the flight room. The instructor pilots have their own room off to the side that we usually kind of gather in and talk to kind of talk about that stuff, right? Definitely, if you're going to onset a student, talk to your flight commander, see what he thinks. We have reservists that are attached to the flight that have been around for 15, 20 years. I'm going to see pretty much anything, so or everything. So you go back, talk to them, which I did. In this situation, it's pretty black and white. You know, you get slow in the final turn as you approach your solo. It's really kind of clear cut, but you definitely, regardless, you go back, kind of tell the story, so everybody can learn from it. Everybody's on the same page and kind of know what's going on. Yeah, he is currently flying C-130s, 8 C-130s down at Moody Air Force Base in Georgia. And yeah, we definitely keep in touch. Once students graduate, they become winged aviators, so there's not that weird IP student kind of relationship going on, and you can talk to him like a normal person. But yeah, he's doing really well down there, and he appreciated the way I taught him when I was an instructor. Definitely more on the hard side because he's become an instructor in his C-130 platform, and he's definitely going to take that same